Hey Blockies, it's Charlie here. The year has kicked off with lots of activity in the crypto world. With prices fluctuating after the Bitcoin halvening, everyone is eagerly watching to see what unfolds next. As the market heats up, just wait until you delve into the accounting side of things. But there's no need to worry, Electra from Electrafi is here to help navigate the complexities within crypto accounting. So grab a comfortable spot and let's dive in.
Alrighty. Hi everyone, welcome to our episode 69. Today we have Electra from Electrafi, and Electra, you have been in the space for like such a long time. In a sense, when I say long time now, space is like like maybe 4 years. I think 4 or 5 years maybe. I've seen you in the space since we started. And that tells me like you'll be like super OG. Now you must have been like even well before that. I would love to hear the story about you. And one thing that you bring to the space is you bring that professionalism, you bring that level of like, I know that most of us are in the space are crypto bros, right? So, but you bring a different aspect to it. And I love the fact that you are an ambassador for decentralization, away from the centralization. And given the space I think we have enough and we have plenty of centralized systems at the moment. And we would love to hear more about how can we decentralize the centralized bodies that we have, and how can we build trust by using verification and not having to trust these centralized bodies. So on that note, Electra, and first of all, I have Maureen here. I forgot to introduce Maureen, my co-host today. So on that, Electra, I would love to pass the mic to you so that you can tell our community a little bit about yourself and how did it come about and what is everything about Electra and Electrafi.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Cozy, and for such a fine introduction and setting the theme so well for our conversation today. And it's great to be here. So I've been a public accountant. I'm a chartered tax advisor with my own practice since 2008. And we've actually been putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet since 2013 when clients were using it. So my first experience with Bitcoin was in to solve commercial problems, to pay people overseas. And my practice is creative industries. And so, I'm quite used to dealing with startups and creative people who make something out of nothing. So creative, Bitcoin, blockchain, it's just been a progression. And so from the beginning, I've always used new technologies in my own practice because that's how you learn them, so you understand what your clients are doing and to grow your own business alongside your clients. So that's what my accounting practice has been about. And now we're at Electrafi, which is now all for Web3 and crypto businesses and startups and helping accountants to get into the space because we're going to need us all, right? 2030, every accountant's going to be a crypto accountant. There's no escaping it.
Exactly. No, I think you said it right because we say like, every business started as like, okay, offline business, but as soon as they have a website, they become IT business, And so when you started in 2013, how was it like? Because that's like that time, like, it's funny, like I have a story, like the company I used to work at that time.
Yeah.
One of the guys from the call center came to me and said, like, Kosi, and I was heading the IT and marketing team for that company. He said, Kosi, have you heard about this digital money called Bitcoin? And I'm like, mate, don't waste your time on it, right? I said it's a fad in this space that is never going to take off. So, and then I just faded him. And now looking back, I'm like, damn, I mean, like, I can't say that I had the signals,
Yeah, well, it was really strange in 2013 because there was no guidance then, but it was before the ATO had heard about it. I just went, this is cool. He's able to pay people in Europe who don't have access to bank accounts. Great. That explains the company in Cyprus, and it's just foreign currency. So I worked it out in Excel, and I wouldn't want to do any of that work in Excel anymore. But it made sense then, and we got it into zero and onto the balance sheet. And then the ATO turned around and said it was a capital gains asset, and that was very confusing because it was money. But so since then, but and I moved to Agnes Water in Central Queensland. My practice was in Sydney, and I met Gordon Christian in Agnes Water. And in 2018, he was starting the Agnes Water Digital Currency Town project, getting the businesses onto having point of sales to accept Bitcoin and crypto as a tourism initiative. And so, ramped things up with him and learned a lot with him. And we went on to open Digital Playhouse Foundation, which is a registered charity and PBI to advance social and public welfare through financial literacy and adaptation of existing skills to these open source technologies, just to help people keep up with all the changes and understand what options are available to them as Australia rolls out its digital economy strategy. So, and that all ties in with accounting to me. And so we started, so I guess since 2018, and knowing Gordon, I've just become a very strong believer in open and permissionless systems. And as an accountant and as an advisor to business, I just feel like I should be ethically aligned to Bitcoin and open blockchains and position myself commercially and my reputation with it, because it's the biggest revolution in finance in my lifetime. And it's important for, social, economic, environmental reasons. I can bang on and on. But it's very important as an accountant to be across it and to guide it, because, in the past, accountants as business technologists have guided businesses to adopt cloud technologies, and this is the next responsible phase to be at the forefront of. So my practice is very focused on helping other accountants into the space as well, because we've all got a different sort of cross-section of knowledge and skills with Web3 and crypto, and we can't be experts in everything. So I'm trying to find my way as an accountant into the space as everyone else is. We all, as my startup friend Jacob said, we all run our own circuses.
That is like so true. I mean, finding that special, like the niche, cutting out that niche, like slice in the space, given it's such a, new technology, and also, constantly evolving as well, right? And in your story, Maureen, like when I heard the words Cyprus,
well, they're first movers. I think they were some of the first place to adopt Bitcoin, and they were definitely the first in the world to actually get on board with the education, because I did my Masters of Digital Currencies Computer Science in Cyprus in the University of Nicosia. So, and at that time, there was nowhere that was real. I would have to double check. I think maybe 2018, actually, or around that time. But yeah, they are definitely first movers. They're very smart. They have a bunch of really great people. And just listening to your story, accounting, 2013, I feel like we're still struggling to get guidance from the ATO now. 11 years on. I don't understand how you did it. That would have been, you just made it sound so easy. Like, we just chucked it on the balance book and off we went. But
as an accountant, I've got a couple of degrees in tax law and I've studied accounting, and you're just trying to understand the substance of something and what it is, and that's by like, how is someone using it? How do they intend it to be used? And so how I understood it is logically what it is and how it was used, which was not property, it was money. And I think, everything about currency is going to change with this technology. Our concepts of money are completely changing, and currency really, because perhaps Bitcoin itself is not the money. Perhaps it's the currencies that can be pegged to it, that can run on its rails. It's, DeFi and collateralization, all these new concepts are making us think about how we have this free exchange of value, and what that value is, and what is money. And as an accountant, I need to understand that.
So Electra, 11 years on, do you find that you're getting that sort of guidance now? Have the regulations got it right? Are you on board with ATO and tax? Because we're hearing a lot of, talk in the pipeline where there's a lot of angry crypto tax accountants or tax lawyers, because, they're taking things to court saying you just didn't get it right again. And it's 11 years. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, getting a bit impatient. And I mean, there's the argument that the space is changing, and we don't want laws that are rushed and then have to be changed again when things are better understood or changed. But we do need a bit more transparency. We've been waiting a few years for this Board of Taxation report on the taxation of digital assets and transactions, and that has not been publicly released, that report, and we want to see it. We want to see the submissions, and we want to see where things are going and be part of the conversation. I think the government at this stage, if it doesn't want a network state versus nation state situation, then they need to work with us and collaborate with knowledgeable, experienced people who are in this space and support innovation and the economy and work with us to develop laws. And there are many people who want to. So anyway, I could rant a lot about it, but we're not very happy. And we do not, you do need a knowledgeable, confident accountant who can look at the ATO website and say, hey, this is not law. I think your situation, my understanding of the law, means that you could be treated your transaction should be treated in a different way to the ATO says on their website, and I'll be ready to defend that for you. But really, how deep are your pockets? Do you want to be the test case?
Yeah,
making new law, and that's kind of the troubling thing that, it's not the big end of town that will be the test laws, the test cases for this. So there is a lot of risk in this space, but hey, you take risks, you're the winners. So,
That's great. I mean, look, it's with regards to now companies who we do a few integrations when it comes to crypto payment gateways, and we're working with a couple of charities at the moment, looking at how we can integrate crypto payments so that they can accept crypto donations, because we know in the space, whatever normally you put $50 and you turn into 1.2 million. In my case, it's from $50 to 2-3 cents. I don't know what happens to me. I ordered the wrong one. So in this space, we said, okay, look, it creates another set of people. That means one thing I noticed in the space, being in the space for such a couple of years or so, is that a lot of people have a giving side to them, and it's amazing. So we are just implementing this. So for charities, what should they think about when it comes to implementing crypto donations, for example? This is something obviously this is not advice per se, but it's super generalized. In that instead, what is there a hit list, 1, 2, 3 type of thing that they should consider before accepting crypto?
Yeah, well, charities like Digital Playhouse Foundation is a registered charity with ACNC, a PPI. So we've got a lot of governance, to charitable objectives that we have to, any decisions that we make about crypto have to align with our charitable objectives and constitution. So, and so as a charity, if you're running a charity, you've got to be very mindful of, and transparent in how you do things. It's not like a private company where you can just sort of experiment behind closed doors. So it does put an extra responsibility on you to consult with experts and get good accounting systems set up for crypto. And you don't have to give tax advice to your donors, but you do need to encourage them to get tax advice, and because it can be very individual. It depends, what entity you're donating from, what the form of the asset is that they're donating, and how it's done. So, look, we accept crypto donations, but we can't give you a tax advice. But you could probably come and talk to me when I'm wearing my other hat.
Exactly. So when you can Electrify.
Yes. Or I might refer you to someone else, so there isn't it doesn't look like conflict.
So, Electra, given the number of businesses that you talk to and provide services to, what is the uptake been over the last few years? Have you seen more businesses taking on with the whole, now Bitcoin hitting main media? Or how has that changed since 2013?
Yeah, well, it's been pretty payments focused from our experience, although we have also dealt with Web3 projects, and I love dealing with companies that don't have bank accounts. It's so exciting. And, and DAOs. And, but it has mostly been a payments focus, and in the creative industries, film industries, experimenting with NFTs to sort of raise funds for projects and involve their fans and supporters in projects. So it's all been pretty experimental so far, and some really good Web3 projects. Most of my efforts have been on Digital Playhouse and little Web3 startups and sort of developers and structuring businesses. Although I'm a tax specialist, from years of finding it very difficult to give tax advice because the accounting records weren't reliably producing reports that we could use to base our advice on, I've just gone back to the foundations, and so my focus is on setting up proper accounting systems and processes and reporting frameworks to make sure that machine's in place for So, yeah, that's been really my focus the last 5 years, has been getting the accounting in place. But then some days I do tax advice once the accounting's done.
Yeah.
Are you planning to launch a blockchain project? At Blockstars, we specialize in developing blockchain projects from your initial idea to the final product. To launch your successful blockchain project, drop us an email to hello@blockstars.com.au.
So that sounds really great. So you've poured so much time and energy into the Digital Playhouse Foundation mission. And I know that's all about financial literacy and helping people. Do you want to just speak to that a little bit and give our listeners like a rundown of really what it's all about, what you guys do, who's it's for, who it helps?
Yeah, okay. Well, so as I mentioned, Digital Playhouse was founded in 2021. Anyway, it was a bit delayed because of COVID. And so I'm just bringing up my website to digitalplayhouse.org.au if you want to have a look at what we do. We have it's a multi-sided social impact model, learn, build, report. So, and that includes the School of Bitcoin, that's the learn factor. The Stacks Australia is for building, and Accountants on Chain is the support to the Web3 businesses and people that are earning money in this space need that support and guidance from accountants who are also learning. So, but the reason why we became a charity is because originally we did have a private company, but and you can run as a social enterprise with profits, but what we do is not really profitable, and we're dealing with crypto purely for charitable and social impact reasons, not to make money out of crypto. And it's very important to have this charitable purpose, which is that financial literacy and inclusion go hand in hand. And we want people particularly with a focus on regional areas, to access emerging technologies and reskill with them. Because they don't really get that exposure in places like Agnes Water, but also in the city. So, hopefully, as a charity, we can help with our deductible gift recipient status. We can also attract deductible donations, so that if people want to run projects that align with our charitable objective, they can, and raise donations. And a tax exemption with crypto is quite handy too.
Yeah. So what kind of reskilling is available? Like, what can people learn?
Well, at our centre in Agnes Water, which is currently closed, but we may found a new space, we have taught people how to use Bitcoin, with wallets, just the basics. I went to El Salvador in 2022 and went to, that was the Adopting Bitcoin conference, but I was very interested, and I researched for Digital Playhouse how we could teach Bitcoin. And I attended a hackathon at a school with some French educators, and we had school children learning how to use wallets and seed signers and the hardware ledgers. And once they were trained, we took them around to the shop owners in the village, Ataco in northern El Salvador, and they onboarded the shop owners to use Bitcoin because, El Salvador made Bitcoin legal.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they were and they had these Shibo wallet apps that the government gave them and airdropped them $30 worth of Bitcoin. But they really didn't know how to use it. They had smartphones, but they're used to using paper money. So they didn't have the digital technology skills. And so it was great to see that and brought that back to Australia. And we figured, well, children pick this stuff up really quickly and then they can teach the adults. So, and knowing the difference, understanding, we're not Bitcoin only. The future is multi-chain. However, to really understand this space and to approach it securely, you do need an understanding of Bitcoin. So that's where we start with the education, and it's very simple to use when you're shown, when someone's teaching you hands-on. And then, look, there are lots of people out there doing that, and but we just set up this centre, so it felt like a safe space for the community to come in and learn about it.
Yeah, 100% right. I think not sometimes, I would say most of the time that I speak to people, they're like, they fear it because they straight away, they're like, okay, it's digital. I don't even know what this money is. I don't know how to use it. I think people get scared more than anything else. And having that one-on-one in a safe place that people can spend the time and ask the questions, because even though we say there are no stupid questions, people still have somewhat ego, right? And they don't want to feel that, the technology make them feel stupid.
Yeah.
So having that, and that's amazing. I think initially it's going to be hard. I think you spend 90% of the time to bring 10% of the people, but then after that you're spending 10% of the time to bring 90%, right? And I think that's the thing's going to happen down the line. So
that's it. The adoption strategy has to be quite strategic. So we figure that children and accountants can onboard more people than we can.
100%. Yeah, and kids are not scared, right? They'll just do anything, and especially for money. I mean, it's unreal. So, but it has not changed even in the degens. So, with the Bitcoin, Electra, if this podcast been watched by the crypto people, they already know about these things. But I just want to, we get to talk to a lot of people who are not crypto people. So like we call the Web2 people, not Web3 people. And if they come across this podcast, and if they ask, okay, so why should I use Bitcoin? What's the difference between me using Bitcoin versus me tap and go on my phone? What's the difference? If we can, as technical people, when we say that, they're like, oh, you know what? You guys are technical people. You just want to live in the technical world and everything is cool in your side, So sometimes I think maybe hearing from, not sometimes, I think especially hearing from you, who's in the space, with the businesses, what would you say the main benefit or the difference from your point of view between Bitcoin and fiat?
Okay, well, generally the way I approach this is that understanding, like just looking at what's happening in the world, and that all currencies will be digital. That's the way we're going. All currencies will be digital. They'll just either be centralized or decentralized. And you can't you're not going to be able to go through life. Well, you'll be rather limited if you just confine yourself to the centralized currencies. Now, businesses, they look for opportunities, okay? So they'll be exploring decentralized. They'll be exploring DeFi lending opportunities if the banks won't lend to them. They'll be network-based business models will draw them in. Where they see the value, they'll follow it. So as everyone should be watching, how could this impact my career? So a Bitcoin is a good place to start to learn about what decentralized and permissionless systems and assets are. Why would I want to tokenize my assets? Why would I want my ownership tracked on a blockchain? Why would I want that integrated with AI? Does this bring me more security? Cybersecurity is really important. It's the basic financial and digital literacy, and it's overwhelming, I think, for most people. So I will encourage them to just start with Bitcoin to understand the principles, the tenets of Bitcoin, and then just start to relate it to your own like world, what might be relevant to your industry or your career interests. And so that's why I came up with Credo. a decentralized application for the accounting industry, which I want to build. I want to figure out how to architect it, but that's because I want to onboard my industry peers into Web3 with a secure and practical decentralized application built on Bitcoin. So we understand Bitcoin and why we build on Bitcoin that actually solves their problems. So they experience the value of the technology through a positive impact that it actually makes on their own kind of daily grind, and gives potentially they can see the potential competitive advantage it might give them in a digital currency AI driven world, as compared to the Web2 options that might cost them more, and because they've got high fee and subscription based business models with a network based business model with open source technology. And transact peer to peer. And if you're an accountant and you start thinking about removing the costs of agency, that's a big deal. That's like more profit. It's real simple.
Yeah.
So, but people have got to learn to, with the tools that are relevant to their own interests. That's, I guess, why I invite people to Bitcoin.
So you said it solves accounting industry problems. Do you want to expand, what kind of, for all the accountants out there listening now, what kind of problems it's going to help them solve and how it's relevant to them and how they can get involved, where they can go to find it, just the steps. Just talk us through it.
Okay. Well, as you may realize, accountants, they have letters on the end of their name. Okay. And to maintain those letters on the end of their name, or they might have already earned them as degrees that qualify them to be members of professional associations. Okay, so it might be CPA or CA or IPA on the end of their name, or CTA, Chartered Tax Advisor. To maintain those letters, we have to do continuous professional education and development, a certain number of hours each year of seminars, training, 30 to 50 hours a year sometimes. Depending if you're a financial advisor, you've got to do more, So, and they can be audited for their compliance, and they've got to maintain records. And it's in the public interest, I think, to gain visibility into the accountant's verifiable knowledge and experience, and not just rely on what they say on their website and on LinkedIn. So, if you actually thinking about verified credentials, which are interesting at the moment, if you have those first, for CPE, then, and it's on a visible, if it's publicly visible and trackable, then you can solve, and it's automatically put there every time an NFT is issued when you complete a CPE or CPD activity, then the burden of maintaining records from fragmented, messy sources, Excel spreadsheets, and however we do it, it's just there on the DApp. Okay. It's tracked. So your hours and the content that you have to do for your professional association can see it, so everyone can be audited at once, saving them the money, the cost of having to do individual audits. And the public can search for an accountant that has verifiable skills that they need for their taxes or for their businesses. So I'm trying to solve many problems at once, but just to start with, just as an onboarding tool for accountants, Credit would be used for just issuing NFTs to confirm that you did a course. So that course would be issued by a CPE training provider. And we want to do a pilot project using Stacks DApp, and I might get time to do that in a few months. So that's the architecture at the moment, because I want to come up with something that doesn't, like a DAO without a token. For that, I want to use Stacks SBTC.
Yeah. So Electra, what I was hearing from that, I was relating it to my own need to complete CPDs every year as well. You could use that same model for so many different professions, law, engineering, any professional body that requires continuous learning. So
exactly. Everybody can sort it on GitHub, and you can take it and you can go and use it legally.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, why should we be paying subscription fees and fees for, having verified credentials? We can actually verify each other peer-to-peer and be trackable using blockchain. So, and public and transparent. And I think that's how we can solve trust and get with the public and have the public really value what we do as accountants and as lawyers. So,
yeah.
I might need help building it though, because I'm an accountant or a developer.
No, I think you point out a really good point, which is the trust and verifiability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like, before this, before I got into like crypto per se, the blockchain side of thing, not crypto, but blockchain, I never really thought, gave too much thought into the trust and verifiability. I'm like, oh, you know what, they're same, sound same, they must be same, But now I feel like there's a clear differentiation. Like trust is like you're putting, okay, you know what, you're trusting on like, okay, you know what, they sound pretty good, like, they look good, so I'm going to trust this person, I'm going to give my money and I'm going to do this with them. But it's different when it's a verifiability. It's like, okay, now you don't have to trust anyone, you can verify.
It's one of his favorite sayings, don't trust, verify.
Verify, right? And I think this is what the the platform will bring. It's just like, okay, now you have trust on a specific body. Have they got the information right or all that? You can really verify the information. I think, so when you come to that point, you can't just do one part and stop there, right? You have to go all the way. Even that organization has to adopt this Bitcoin, or I'll call it Bitcoin standard, because you're building on Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had to adopt this standard so that the traceability, the transparency that flows throughout that workflow, wouldn't it?
Well, that's it. Where it has to be an imperative. Sorry, that what you say there. The organizations have to adopt it. The professional associations have to say this should be used for our members because we want this professional body to be trusted and our members to be trusted. And in trust, there is value, and it gives you a competitive advantage over others if people trust you and are more likely to do business with you than someone else. It
also makes it easier for industries, because I hate having to track my CPDs. I'm losing track of everything. So I feel like anything that provides convenience and cuts down mundane tasks, or, makes it more easily auditable, like I can't see, there's no real downfall to that. I guess the only thing is getting everyone on board, because you need a system that everyone agrees on, and that's always the fun part.
Yeah, that's right. And so we need our ambassadors from our pilot project to go and convince their professional associations to behind it and to roll it out across the entire accounting profession globally. So you got to think big in this space, because if you're going to create a decentralized monopoly, then it's got to involve everyone, hasn't it?
Oh, of course.
And as I said before, you just got to keep going. You can't just stop. Oh, well, here's a little app that solves this problem. You've got to do a whole of a holistic
approach, right? And I think the other biggest thing for adaptability is making it like super simple.
Yeah. That's the hard part.
That's also the most challenging part, to abstract out that technical side of things, and then for them to just integrate it. They're just like, you know what, this is what you normally do. No difference whatsoever, but the benefits are astronomical.
Ease of use.
The ease of use is super important.
Well, I mean, it's just a digital wallet, isn't it? And if anyone can use the Australian government MyGov ID and go through the ATO apps and processes, I think they can handle a Stacks wallet with an NFT.
I'm happy. I got, to be honest, I got lost in the MyGov. I think, I locked myself out of it, and I don't even know how. I can't believe I registered and locked myself out. I'm not registered, and I locked myself out from my own account. So, it was super confusing. It was a bit clunky, but I think this is where, we have seen the space grow constantly, evolve like crazy. I think it's only going to pick up speed as we go into the weeks and to the months, right? So what it was before, with Bitcoin, you have your own node, or you run your own UTXOs and everything else. Now it becomes like, it's people like with the Lightning sort of things, we have abstract ourselves out of the technicality into more like usability now. So I feel like there are a few, people in like groups where people are saying, look, I want complete sovereignty of my own Bitcoins and all that. And there's another camp saying, look, I want the ease of use. I don't really care of anything else. I just want to just transact and use it so that I don't have to rely on, like, what happened to the Canadian truckers, isn't it?
Yeah, their bank accounts got
They're
frozen.
frozen because of what they for what they believed, and at the moment the world is going through so many different facets, right? There are people who believe in certain things, there are people who doesn't believe in certain things, and the beauty of democracy, So I think if the beauty of this Bitcoin, what I see that brings values is that it makes it, you can, for the first time, you can own and you can transact with people without having to rely on other third parties who tell me, like, okay, you can't do this or you can't do that. And I think, say, it applies with your CredU project, which means it becomes open source and there is no single body that can just wipe it because they don't like you, for example.
The full decentralization is the goal, but we're starting it with Digital Playhouse Foundation as a charity because it's intended to be a public good. But everything has to start out centralized. But yeah, I agree with you there that the decentralization, full decentralization, should be kind of the goal, and Bitcoin sets that benchmark to work towards. It doesn't have to be ultimate. We don't have to live in a Bitcoin only world. Like, we need applications where someone's got a verifiable credential that's come from some other, EVM chain, that can be somehow integrated into it as well. So, there will be complexity. But this is why Bitcoin is really heading into this Web3 DeFi space with layer 2s. And so, there's Bitcoin is more than money. It's, the world needs more than a monetary system. It needs an economy. And if we're going to have a Bitcoin standard for our economy, then we also need to have scalable protocols and DeFi apps over Bitcoin. So, with all the ordinals and BRC20s that surged to the Bitcoin on-chain activity last year, people noticed, hey, this Bitcoin is like an on-chain database. It's not just a rock. And so L2s are making it these layer 2s are making it possible as well to scale Bitcoin. And that's where Stacks comes in, and that's why we're working with it. And I'm looking forward to using Stacks as SBTC, like a monetary layer over Bitcoin, to using Bitcoin-focused dApps. So, Lightning's fantastic too, but you can't use it in applications like this.
Right.
What we don't want to spin up our own token. We actually want to use our own Bitcoin, but I guess collateralized in synthesized forms, So it's, and so what Stacks is sort of unlocking Bitcoin's full potential here as a decentralized asset. And
So sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so tell us more about what Stacks actually is. I can see the banner in the background, and I picked up it, throwing the word around a few times, but for those listening that have no idea, what is Stacks and what can you do with it?
Okay. Well, firstly, Stacks Australia behind us, Stacks Oz. That's a digital playhouse project for building on Bitcoin through growing an Australian developer and innovation community with a cohort in Australia for the Stacks Foundation. And, the Stacks Foundation was, they had their strategy was to set up these cohorts all around the world for grassroots adoption. So Digital Playhouse Foundation gets grants to grow that community. And but what is Stacks? Well, it's designed as a layer 1 blockchain, but it works as a layer 2 for Bitcoin. So that's enabling smart contracts for Bitcoin and bringing more functionality to your Bitcoin, okay? Kind of like Ethereum for Bitcoin, but so Bitcoiners who want to hodl their precious Bitcoin can get yield of explore more of these Web3 and commercial use cases. And we're very excited coming up in about a month with the Nakamoto upgrade. It's going to create fairer mining rewards and faster transactions, and that's been approved by the community. It's in testnet, and from that we'll have SBTC emerging as the next release on Stacks. So as a synthesized kind of Bitcoin that we could be using as a non-custodial peg to our Bitcoin on chain and in DeFi in more ways and more securely than other sort of wrapped Bitcoin options. But Stacks itself as a layer one, it has this unique proof of transfer consensus mechanism where it's anchored to Bitcoin. So every transaction that's getting validated, the validators are getting paid in Bitcoin, and so everything that happens on Stacks is on Bitcoin in basic terms. So it's that extra sort of security. And we're hoping, with Bitcoin-backed applications, with SBTC, it'll attract more builders into the ecosystem. And so that way, I think SBTC will become the kind of the go-to asset with Bitcoin that we can use in the applications that we're coming up with from here on to use in our businesses to solve our problems, rather than just Bitcoin on layer one, because that's really expensive and slow, right?
Are you looking to integrate your business systems with cutting-edge AI technology? Our expert team is here to help you use the power of AI to innovate, streamline, and enhance your current business operations. Contact us today at 1-800-870-200 or visit blockstars.com.au.
Yes. And this is what I was, when we have like 8 billion people now, if those 8 billion people, we can't onboard everyone, you can't just get everyone to use, all, US dollars, we got no chance of getting Bitcoin to all 8 billion people. So, as you said, you brought up a really good point about the scalability and the usability now. And, obviously with Bitcoin as it is, obviously, we can't use it into like a high level transactions like Visa and all that stuff. I think, but it has its own place, and we know that Bitcoin needs innovation, and have like the likes of Stacks, and there's constant improvement, and so there are old school, also the gray beards in the Bitcoin space that they hold on to the okay, look, any new they don't like to change because they think, oh, this is perfect, But there's another group, okay, look, for us to take it to the mass, we need this. Otherwise, it's going to create the same thing what we create in the current world, which is or different classes. If only a few people can afford it, only people can transact it, only a few people can use it. What's the point? It creates another class, haves and have-nots. But like what you said with Stacks, I think I have a feeling it gets a little bit more democratization.
It builds up that scalability. That's right, because it draws in innovators from everywhere. Like, we work closely with a Stacks Bitcoin developer community in Nigeria who assisted with us.
Oh,
amazing opportunities to these people to grow applications. So for users who want all these great qualities of Bitcoin, right? If you only own a small amount of Bitcoin, you can use it in these new applications. And so, the great quality of Bitcoin, it attracts people who are less impressed by the meme coins and hype that maybe Bitcoin maxis aren't, a bit repelled by. But people who are more serious about prospering in a global Web3 economy that is actually built on Bitcoin core principles. So, I mean, we've got to get away from this, I believe, thinking of Bitcoin as just money, and see it as a network that's permissionless and accessible to everyone, no matter who's got a stake in the network. Even if you've just got a small stake in the network, you can use it. And, and also the reason why people are building in this space is because it's just so capitalized, right? It's the highest market capital of any digital asset. And it's something like more than 3 trillion Australian at the moment. And the reason why so many developers in Stacks also got interested on building on Bitcoin a few years back is for decentralized systems like this, is that they intend to be building is what will hopefully be the future financial system of the world, right? Big ideas. And they want that to be built on a solid foundation. And something else that draws us to Stacks is how, they did Stacks Foundation did their groundwork a few years ago. And so, Bitcoin is not deemed as a security by the SEC, and Blockstack, that was Stacks years ago, issued the STX token, and that was qualified by the SEC. So as a Web3 entrepreneur and a rather conservative accountant who has to be responsible to manage a charity and teaching digital assets, I think I see these as risk mitigation factors in an uncertain regulatory environment, that this is a safer, more comfortable space to be building projects because it's been kind of ticked by regulators, and Australia might follow suit. So we don't know the future, but and also as the price value of Stacks is tied to Bitcoin, I think also feel a bit more comfortable with Stacks being the primary digital asset in our charity's long-term learner fund alongside Bitcoin. So yeah, there are reasons that I've thought long and hard about for being in this space, and even though I think it's really great to just learn with how to use Bitcoin, Lightning, microtransactions, it's all part of the learning process, but it won't be the only way you use Bitcoin.
No.
So Electra, I personally love your dedication to the whole idea of decentralization and Bitcoin's core principles. How does that go for you? Because I know sometimes when we say things like that, it is definitely going against the grain of most people in the crypto space currently. Maybe it's because the people I follow are professionals, but I know when I put up anything that goes against their narrative, like no CPDs or something like that, I get a lot of backlash, because most of the people currently in the Australian space are all about the regulation. They're all about what the governments, the bureaucrats are saying. They want centralization, they want control. And we all know that Bitcoin's core principles were about giving power back to the people and having an equal playing field. So I love that that's your opinion. Do you get any pushback, or it's a very controversial opinion to have here? So.
Yeah. And you got to be comfortable with that. I mean, being in the Bitcoin Web3 space is kind of, it's getting easier, but we were very misunderstood last year because, Bitcoin only didn't like that Stacks has a token, but you need a token for decentralization. But anyway, anyway, but it's with Stacks, the users are meant to use Bitcoin, so that we're good with that. And then you got the other side, which is, ETH and all the other chains which we use. I'm involved in projects on other chains, but they see Bitcoin as a rock. So, and here we are saying, hey, Bitcoin Web3, come and build here, and that's starting to be understood now. And look, I speak with professionals all the time, and I think, and I speak to their commercial interests. So, you want to use this for reasons I explained. It's secure. There are institutions and whole countries adopting this. Bitcoin mining is on track to become, carbon positive with renewable and sustainable sources of energy, and tapping into methane. The KPMG ESG report that said that there's an ESG imperative with Bitcoin mining, that there's a lot of credibility around Bitcoin this year compared to last year and the year before. And having just come from WA Web3 International Conference last week, which was attended by academics and finance professionals and government, there were quite open, friendly and interested conversations around Bitcoin and building in Bitcoin as just part of the entire blockchain Web3 ecosystem. And I think the more we understand, the less afraid we are of the future, and I think we can just be advocates for just using the right technology in in our social and business interests.
I think it's more, the more I only started recently reading the Bitcoin Standard, and the more I read, every chapter, every page I read, it opens my eyes, and I thought I knew, but it opens up. So I think with the knowledge that we gain every single day, and looking back at what those standards are, and then looking at how that really change the ecosystem or the direction, what people are thinking about what Bitcoin is, and how the money world works as well. And the other book I really want to read about is the broken money, and
They are great books. They are great books, and the Bitcoin Standard is the one to recommend to everyone. It's timeless. No matter how the technology changes, whether or not the author agrees with what I'm doing,
Yes.
it's the principles.
Exactly.
And once you read that, it does open your mind up, doesn't it, to what's
Oh, yes.
meant to be.
But it's amazing. Yeah, and I almost, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I call it pretty much, it should be like a Bible for anyone who's starting in crypto.
I was avoiding saying that. So,
Yeah. It should be the go-to, like, for like, okay, this is what it should be, where you start, your journey with, it's almost like, here's the map before you start your journey, and I think that would, iron out a lot of the misconceptions in the space as well, because we used to now, I was saying that we hear quite a lot now compared to what we used to hear in the past, in the year or 2 years before, that, crypto is like dodgy, drug use and all that stuff. And, we said, look, we are doing forensics, we do track and trace and all that. So we understand, like, crypto is the worst place to use to anything dodgy.
As you said before, it's the trust machine.
Yeah. And I think it's probably the news outlets, they hold on to the Bitcoin, the Silk Road, and they put them together. I think the negativity just really pull people into reading things. And once someone reads saying, okay, this bad thing happened, and even though you come back with saying, okay, no, that was wrong, this is the right report, still people only remember the negative thing. I don't know what it is, and things are, but,
well, we've got to be here to balance things out and emphasize the positive, don't we?
Exactly right. And I think, but saying that now the majority is moving towards a more positive outlook, given that now it's ETFs been approved, and now I think it has, people thought it's going to go down, it's going to disappear, Bitcoin going to go to zero.
Always makes it come back to
right? It always somehow just every 4 years comes up.
But no matter what happens, there's a lot of people who want to make it work, and that's what I believe
100%.
in. Yeah,
100%.
And it makes you believe in people and the power of people to make things work, and to not have this helpless, hopeless, the government's going to do this to us kind of state of victimhood in your life. Harsh words, but I mean, it's really important. Appreciating Bitcoin and open blockchain technologies, especially as professionals who advise others, it really affects using it affects how we make decisions and frame our outlook in life. And just at work, like choosing more privacy-centric data practices, less exploitative kind of data practices, that it affects your ethics and responsibilities. And, and that extends to holding other people, even the tax office, banks, finance and legal professionals that we deal with, and, to respect these principles. And so anyone, including accountants who might laugh at me, no, they don't. They're actually interested. Accountants are quite interested in technology. They just don't know if they have time for this yet, if it's relevant enough, not their time to. AI is pretty important at the moment. But when they're common misconception, because AI could do their job and they're working 60 hours a week. So I'm not saying their time yet. But any accountants and professionals who are parroting common misconceptions about Bitcoin and crypto, I think they just need to be routinely checked, because, as part of being a professional, as you'd know, Maureen, we have ethical obligations that, and I think this space, it really aligns with our code of ethics to study Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain, and because we're advocates for others and have to act in their best interests. And so we need to really understand the good of it as well as the risks, and not just talk about the risks.
Yeah. And so just to bring it back to the crypto accounting, do you have many clients? Like, what sort of clients would you be taking in terms of crypto accounting? Because I'm sure after hearing how knowledgeable you are, we're going to have a lot of people being like, what are her details? I'm holding crypto.
We can talk about crypto accounting. Wasn't that what this podcast was?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, we better wrap that up into some accounting there. But,
okay.
So what kind of people would come see you? Because I know we've at least got 10 in here that need a good crypto accountant, myself included.
I can't do everything, and although I'm pretty good at tax, it's not my main focus these days, and there are people who are probably more on the edge with tax that I would refer to. However, I can get your accounting system into good shape. So accountants don't just do tax. Our role is to, keep you accountable, and unless you have an internal finance team that has those skills across crypto and accounting, you do need an accountant who knows this space and can expertly set up and maintain a system for you that integrates with your main accounting system. So you've got your crypto and fiat on the reports and reports every month for accountability, and especially for investor confidence. If you're a Web3 startup and you can show that you can maintain a good finance system, then you're probably more likely to raise funds and not become an FTX, as an extreme example. VCs investing would want to know startups have access to the best tools for efficient and accurate reporting, and so that's the space I love to play in. And I don't think crypto accounting software is too expensive because it can save,
time.
Why pay a finance person or be a business owner spending 20 hours a week trying to do this in Excel and be systemized? And I've always had a passion for systemizing the numbers into reports so we can get on and do our job. That's what we can help with. And also, I also want to encourage other accountants to bring their clients to us. We won't take the clients. We'll just set up their accounting system and give them a process to follow each month, and some tax guidance if needed.
Electra, so you've spoken about the digital playhouse, Stacks, Credu, talking at events. I think I'm just going to ask the question that's probably on everyone's mind right now. How do you find the time to do all this?
Well, I haven't got much work done lately. I just don't stop. Look, I just love the space so much. Every day, every weekend, every morning, I get up and I put my I listen to podcasts and YouTubes and go for a bike ride in the bush, and so just learning constantly and speaking with people constantly. Though I'm about to go into a quite focused time to rebuild our accounting practice technology stack using some Web3 based privacy tech kind of tools for forms and client communications. So I'm in building mode coming up to end of financial year, and looking forward to helping a lot of businesses at Electrafi get ready for end of financial year and for 24-25 bull run. Everyone's going to have our numbers in good shape. We're going to throw the government. We know what we're doing.
That's the thing now into a bull run is, I think these are a lot of, I think I can already feel the high energy in the space. Everyone's excited, and then probably come to the end of the bull run and people are like, when everything drops by 50%, I think that's when people are like, nah, this is not good. Then they have to wait for another few years, and then the bull run starts, everyone's back on it. I think it's a cycle that, this is my second bull run, and I'm into, and it's seeing those nuances. I'm like, oh my god, when I got in first, it was like, oh my god, I'm an amazing trader. I'm money all the time, and then 2018, not a good year for me.
Well, it's going to be really important for the industry, isn't it? With all that extra activity, and custodians are going, especially they'll need to show good financial good finances and credible reports, and show that they're compliant with laws and regulations, and can report on not just their corporate assets, but their customers' assets. So that's a real focus at the moment, to be reporting on those assets separately, so that everything's traceable for proof of reserves and liabilities as we come into the bull market, because, we don't need another FTX. FTX didn't even have an internal accounting team. I don't know what their accountants were doing. They used Excel. But we have such better systems now to make this so that it's not a pain and not the focus of our life. We want to be focused on growing our businesses, and just systemize that accounting so we can get on with it and not be putting out fires, with the ATO when we should be growing.
I guess someone, I heard somewhere in the last few days that they say when is a really good time to start implementing systems into your business, and one of the ones like best day is the day that you start the business.
Take one.
Today, you know, or today, like that's the best times. You got 2 days with the first day or today.
That's right. And don't fall behind. Like, do it weekly, do it monthly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I expect we'll be a bit busy between now and June because with the interest growing, and I'm really excited and happy to now be committed 100% in my accounting practice. My worlds have come together. My projects, social impact work and accounting career are merging into Web3, and it's a very exciting space. And really happy to be part of the team as well, who are learning.
So Electra, we are coming to the end of the podcast now. But what we want to do is, before we leave, we would love to give you the opportunity to give some flowers to people who inspired you or helped you, or who you want to just give a shout out to, so that so they feel like, oh, you know what, I'm important. I'm Electra. That's
she's thinking of me.
Well, you guys, obviously. Well, I would give a real shout out for Gordon Christian for being such a wonderful inspiration, and for, getting me really focused on Bitcoin and saying to me early on that people just need to get over it and understand Bitcoin. And I ran with that. He's been great. I love working with him. And look, Joni Purovic has been an excellent advisor and inspiration in the space. We love being part of the establishment committee on her LawFi DAO, and we learned a lot with her. Umar Malam Hassan, the accountant quits. Listen to his podcast if you're an accountant. He runs some fantastic Web3 CFO training. And gosh, there are so many. Lisa Wilson, who's been working with me for 8 years. When she first worked with me, she got all my clients set up on Xero, and now she's getting them set up on crypto accounting and integrating that with their Xero. She's just up for it. She loves it. And everyone who I've interacted with in this space lately are too many to mention.
I know, right?
Yeah. And now I'm going to have to go on and tag them all in LinkedIn.
No, that's great. Electra, thank you so much for your time and sharing your knowledge with the community. It's amazing because even though once we said, it never ends, right? In the next 3 months, like you said, like stacks goes to another level, everything just moves, the regulation changes. So Electra, we would love to have you back and, share your knowledge with us and the community. And I'll just thank you, for attending our podcast. So.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun speaking with you both, and I appreciated the questions you asked. They were good ones.
Anything else from your side, Maureen?
No, I definitely have a lot more questions, so we need a follow-up podcast.
Let's get those CPDs on chain.
Exactly.
We'll talk more about that. Get your insights.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you. See ya. Bye.